Calling the Infiniti QX a big SUV, well, that's kind of an understatement. This thing is enormous. And there was a time when large, luxurious SUVs like this were very popular, but that was when gas prices were less than $2 a gallon. Well, times have changed, the economies have changed, and big, luxurious SUVs like this, they've kind of lost favor. And yet, Infiniti, they've just redesigned the QX, and we're going to take a look at it. So while there's plenty of room inside this boat to carry your cargo from the big box store, you have to be careful when you navigate into a parking spot, especially if you need to have people disembark from both the port and starboard side. Getting up into it is kind of tough. The running board, well, it's pretty narrow. It's a big high step up to the floor. So what's it like behind the wheel of this 3 tons of fun? Well, it's not a whole lot of fun, but it actually is about 3 tons. In fact, our test car weighed in at about 6,000 pounds. Fortunately, the 5.6-liter V8 engine, it's got 400 horsepower, and it moves this big truck effortlessly. Helping it is a 7-speed automatic that's very smooth and very responsive. But as you'd imagine, this vehicle uses a lot of fuel, and a lot of premium fuel at that. The cabin is actually very impressively quiet. That big engine really doesn't make itself heard very much at all. And there's not much road noise. In fact, all you hear is a little bit of wind noise. The ride is fairly comfortable. It soaks up the big bumps pretty well, but it's very soft, and it can feel a bit floaty, especially on the highway. What's really unimpressive, though, is the handling. It's a really big vehicle, and it lets you know it all the time. Steering, well, it doesn't really communicate very well. It's a huge vehicle to lumber down the road. It just kind of feels clumsy. Things go from bad to worse when it comes to emergency handling. Not only is the grip low, but we found the stability control comes in a little bit too late, which allows the rear end of the vehicle to slide out a bit. And that's something you really don't want to do in a large SUV like this. But being based on a truck does give this vehicle some assets, and that's towing and off-roading. This big truck can tow up to 8,500 pounds, and this large engine really makes it pull well. And off-roading, it's very good. In fact, it went up our rock hill without any problems at all. Even when compared to other high-end luxury cars, the interior of this Infiniti is really, really impressive. There's lots of burled wood throughout that looks very nice. There's chrome insets and lots of leather in the door panels. With all the leather in here, it almost smells like a high-end shoe shop. The controls are pretty easy to use. They're very typical that you find in other Infinitis, which means there's a tune knob, and they're logically grouped. However, some of the controls are a little bit hard to reach, but the nav system, it's one of the best in the business. In fact, there's no shortage of high-tech gizmos, including a dual-screen DVD system and a very cool system for parking. It's not just a backup camera, but actually acts as a camera that's above the vehicle. It makes it easy to see what's around you. As you'd imagine, there's plenty of room, and it's very comfortable up front. And there's lots of adjustments in the steering wheel and the seat. The front seats are almost like small sofas, but the cushions are a bit soft, so they do lose some support on a longer trip. Rear seat passengers get treated to a full-size sofa. It's very comfortable back here. It's roomy even for 3 adults. It's very easy to get comfortable and relax. Getting into the third row seat's a little bit of a challenge. The hard part's not moving the seat out of the way. It's climbing way up here and out here to the back. And even though this truck is so big, don't expect minivan-style third row seat accommodations. The seat, it's right down on the floor. There's not much knee room. Knees are way up here. It's not very comfortable. When it's time to carry your stuff, there's lots of room in this big truck, and everything seems to operate by power, although pretty slowly, so you do need to be patient. Tailgate operates by power. The third row seat, which doesn't really carry people so well, at least it gets out of the way easily, again, slowly by power. And the second row seat, that folds down too. You can accommodate really, really large objects. There are some issues though. The cargo floor is pretty high, and this whole area here, it slopes down pretty severely. So the Infiniti QX can tow a very heavy trailer with ease and excels off-roading. But if you don't need that capability, there's a lot of other luxurious options out there that can carry around your family and don't make you put up with that sloppy handling and terrible fuel economy.